So welcome to the Business Spotlight series. I'm Hugo Breton. I'm a senior partner with ActionCOACH Halton. And today I have the pleasure of welcoming Justin Kline, the founder and CEO of C3 and Anchor Rehabilitation Support Services. So Justin, thanks for being here with us at Business Spotlight.
Thanks, Hugo, for having me. I really appreciate it. Great opportunity.
Right, so we're looking forward to hearing about your journey. And for the audience member that are here for the first time, just please like and subscribe the video so you can get notifications whenever we drop similar content talking about business topics in the channel. So Justin, let's just get started with learning about your journey as a business owner, but also about the companies you lead and the services you provide.
Yeah, so thanks. Like you had said, I'm the CEO of Anchor Rehabilitation and Community Care Connection. I'm involved in several different companies, kind of in the multidisciplinary kind of zone. We operate in Ontario, and we serve a number of different neurodivergent populations. So traumatic brain injury, both for adults and youth in all sectors, developmental disabilities, dual diagnosis, and we're serving in sectors like the motor vehicle accident sector, child welfare, autism, as well as a number of different kind of mental health and wellness zones as well. So we're kind of serving that neurodivergent population, really, that have some of these disorders, and we're working with multidisciplinary professionals to kind of really look at the whole person and have a holistic approach to whether it's treatment, assessment, serving agencies around the province.
Oh, okay, okay. Now,
Yeah.
now, um, these are these are very different groups of people that maybe come from having an incident, right? So how do they get to you? How do they get referred or connect with you?
So when we're looking at the motor vehicle accident sector, obviously someone's been in an accident. We usually get a referral from occupational therapists, neuropsychologists, or mental health professionals, even lawyers that are overseeing an injured individual's claim afterwards. And we kind of are part of a larger group of treatment professionals that are addressing some of these individuals that have been in those accidents. When it comes to like youth and the neurodivergent, individuals in the developmental sector, we're really part of a number of different funders that fund specific disabilities and diagnoses. And they come to us as a community provider and partner to serve a lot of the individuals in the community. But we're mainly community based, so we're really working with both primary care agencies, and we kind of all come together to put together as much programming and kind of forward thinking care plans for everybody that we're serving.
Hmm, okay, okay. And this may link to which I find it difficult to phrase it like this, but we think about marketing your services, because it feels like, it should just be linking, right? And it's part of providing these amazing services for patients. But um, what are those marketing strategies that you're using to connect with the patients?
Well, there's a number of different things. Like, when you're looking at the developmental sector, a lot of times we're working with the families who have the funding. They've been given this funding based on receiving a diagnosis for their loved one, their child, whatever that is. And so we really look at working with those families. So we offer consultations and free consultations to families who are just looking for help or assistance to navigate the system. And the system is complex. There's different funding envelopes and things that and places that they can go. And when you're a family already in crisis or are having difficulties managing your loved one, that's really hard to find. And so we spend a lot of time trying to look at those families. What are their needs? And help them navigate the system. Even if it's not us, we have a very broad network of professionals that we work with, and we want to make sure that we direct them into the right resources. So I think from a marketing perspective, it's less of that, what I think everyone expects, where it's, Instagram and social posts and that kind of thing. And even though that plays a very big role when it comes to awareness and brand awareness, it does play a role. So I don't want to understate that, but it really is about looking to the individuals that are just looking for something that works and something that's or someone that's going to take them through the journey that they're going to get the best possible outcomes. And again, in these situations that are going to be cost effective for their family, and make sure that they can trust the provider that they're working with. So
Yeah.
that's really the basis of marketing. I wouldn't say it's as kind of business or that usual business kind of way of
Yeah.
marketing, but
It almost felt
definitely,
dirty to ask about marketing in these cases, right? Because it's really about
yeah,
providing
exactly. It kind
a
of feels
service.
dirty to say it. Yeah. So
But you talked about trust, and I think that's also going back right to that Instagram account that it's creating the awareness and that credibility, right? That
that's correct.
okay, I got referred to you, sign up for my consultation, um, and then maybe what those traditional presence or marketing channels are working for is just creating that credibility, right? That gets them in the door.
Yeah, it's kind of going in the working backwards a little. You know, if you have a number of youth, just for as an example, families are likely struggling. So a lot of times, what we do is we hold support groups for those families, or we are tied with an association that does those supports, so that we can make sure the family, before they're looking for anything, has an opportunity to kind of wrap their heads around what they're managing. And my chief clinical officer, Stacey Dertinger, really does a firm focus on caregiver burnout and where those referrals and how we get those really start with families and caregivers. And so it's really important for us to look at that piece first, make sure that they have everything that they need. Just on a personal note, I have an autistic nephew, I have an autistic niece, and I have a close sister who has a traumatic brain injury. So all of those sectors are kind of real for me from a family perspective. And I think it's given me some really good vision to say, hey, families are where we start, and then we can work towards helping their loved ones as well.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Mm. Yep. Yep. I like that. Yeah, that approach. That makes a lot of sense. Um, you mentioned a couple of things that were interesting. Um, you're really focused on very specific situations, right? And which, as business owners, sometimes we say, "Hey, everyone can be a client, right?" And we can work with everyone. But I like the idea of really focusing on what you're best at. And the second one, which maybe you really connected, is having that network of, okay, we can't help on these other things, but we have a network. And again, as starting business owners, sometimes we struggle with that by saying, no, yeah, I can also do that. And not necessarily thinking, well, instead of me trying to learn something that is not necessarily my wheelhouse, who can I partner with so that I start creating that network? So I love that. How how did you get to this point?
So, it's exactly what you said. And I think, especially in healthcare, a lot of these scopes are siloed into the sector that they serve. And that's not necessarily the best thing because we need to look at working with every different scope depending on kind of what population you're serving. So, what I did to start this whole journey is it was very important for me to establish a network. I have a very vast network of different kinds of professionals. I'm in the healthcare tech space. I have a business where we have physicians. I also have a business where I have therapy assistants and one with behavior analysts. So what we've done is connect with different scopes that we're working with on a number of um, different populations or in different scenarios, and we reciprocate that work. And we say, hey, like I want you to be a trusted referral source for me and for you. We like how we work together. We know what to expect from each other when we're addressing a very complex or critical case, and we know where our values lie. So I think in your network, it's really important to know that if you're going to work with someone and trust them with the patients or clients that you're serving, it's important that you trust that they're going to work towards the best possible outcomes, putting really their business related decisions as secondary and their clients first. I think that's really important in the healthcare zone. And I'm a healthcare company that's private and we're in Canada, and it's a publicly funded system. But what we are seeing is that there is less supply. There's more demand for specialists and not the supply. So I find what Ontario is doing specifically is starting to come together and allowing us to collaborate with both the public and non-for-profit agencies, along with private, so that we can provide a whole picture and work to making sure that we're all being cost effective and really being cognizant that we're working with a minimal amount of money to serve this one individual ongoing.
Hmm. Yeah, and I'm guessing that creates constraints that if you were not operating in that publicly funded sector would not be there, right? And just learning to work within those constraints is it's part of the
Yeah,
challenge.
and I got to tell you, we're not given the best rap for some people. Like, for some public agencies, the first thing they think of is I'm in here for profit. And that, and while we are a private business and need to make profit, sometimes they need to understand that we have to raise our budgets in order to serve our clients as well, right? So a lot of times, what I do specifically as a business person that I find to be mutually beneficial is I work with my managing director, and I like to write grants for non-for-profit agencies where if we come up with a concept that serves the populations that they want to, we are involved with our piece, and we make sure that we can tackle some of the things that that agency is looking to tackle for the people under their umbrella. And where it works is that there's no risk. We're going to submit a grant for you on this concept. We're going to take them through each step of it and say, hey, this is a pathway to sustainability or a pathway to something new. And then if we don't get it, we don't get it. Nobody's love loss there. But if we do get it, we have something to build on as a partnership. And it's not about money at that point in time. We're really trying to give a and work towards something even better.
Yeah. And it sounds like a triple win for the agency, for the patients, and for you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. It's really fun too. I mean, I would say I'm a big nerd, but I love writing grants, thinking of the kind of concept. And my managing director, Jeff, he really got me into it because he is a grant writing business himself. And we find it's the best way to take some of those ideas that you really can't really put out there easily and just put it on display and show that there are kind of new pathways to do new things.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's fantastic and a great example of working with restrictions, right, and constraints.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let me go back to kind of the portfolio with a maybe slightly different question, which is you talked about coverage in Ontario, and when I think of therapy, rehabilitation, I feel it's very constrained geographically because I need to go somewhere. But listening, hearing about the diversity in the portfolio of companies, I'm saying, oh, there's that potential for scale. So how have you been able to go beyond just one community and try to cover across Ontario? And is it different depending on, which business we're looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one thing that is I find myself to be a big nerd. I love technology and I have a lot of passion there. And what I've done is I've kind of wielded that in my businesses as well. So, I've designed an EMR. I use extended reality technologies to do things so that I can, one, automate my business, which allows me to scale my business in a more healthy manner when it comes to monetizing it. I can look at being efficient and cost effective and serving individuals across the province. So I can have all of my clinicians and providers and therapy assistants all over the province. We're all networked into one system and using some state of the art tools to practice in each scope that they're practicing. So I think the technology is always a great way to expand and to scale, but it also allows you to diversify and connect individuals. And, I think a lot of healthcare professionals aren't tech people. They're very ingrained in a certain way they've done things. And while that's okay, I tried to build technology that was very simple and very straightforward so that they are able to use the skills that they have, which are usually amazing, but that they don't have to change too much in how they practice that. So, one that gives me that some of that bandwidth for the clinicians, but on the other side, for management and my leadership team, it allows them to better manage those professionals from afar remotely so that they feel like they're getting the support they need from an in facility kind of clinic or business, but giving them those markers to say, hey, I can make sure that the quality of the way we're serving clients, it can still be maintained.
That was going to be a follow-up question, which is if that technology in the system is kind of guiding, so you're serving remotely the same way you're trying because the system kind of, you know, forces things to happen a certain way and certain information to be collected a certain way.
That's correct. And so, it really becomes effective because collecting information in healthcare is hugely important. What we're documenting, how we're collecting information, and having it available and ready to us at any moment is super important, given that there's so many different funding envelopes in the space of healthcare and based on different diagnoses and that kind of thing. But if there are individuals specifically that need to be served remotely, and, I always look from the bigger picture and say that technology is really our pathway to balancing healthcare. The demand and that's being shouldered by primary care, where they have lots of people in the waiting room and that kind of thing. Are we able to use technology to balance that and keep people more at home so that they're able to manage things that they don't need to see readmissions into hospitals. They're able to be served at home, which becomes again cost effective for the healthcare system and for the individual. We all know from research that people recover best at home. So when we look at those kind of things and those kind of concepts, I think we should all be building towards that, whether we're in a private sector or a publicly funded one.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Um, Couple of questions on kind of managing the different businesses. I think one is um, team and finding the right people to be part of the team, in particular when
That's right.
when you work in such a sensitive sector. What's kind of your recruiting philosophy and process for finding the right people?
Well, bottom line for me, it's hire smarter people than you. Okay. And I think that's one thing that is I'm not a clinician. And so when I look at clinicians, I think one thing that I've been able to do is collect clinicians, not collect or hire and bring on clinicians that are leaders. And I've spent a lot of time helping them to move into that leadership component, saying, hey, I can't give you that clinical insight. I need you to give us that. But how can I build you into a leader? How can I build you up so that even when you leave me, and I think a lot of business owners take this for granted, people are going to leave you. They're going to grow, but are you going to be part of that positive? Are you going to be a positive part of their journey, or is it going to end in a negative way? And I want to be a positive part of that journey. So even if my clinicians leave and they're going somewhere else, they felt like we were a part of their growth as a professional. And so I've been able to bring that leadership on, really work with them on those components, how to manage people that again come from different personalities, different backgrounds, different cultures, and they need a little bit of guidance to um, step up and have a little bit of confidence in themselves when they don't necessarily walking into this job where they feel like they're just kind of a meager clinician there to do their day-to-day job. I think my strength is I can see the power in people a little bit, and I'm able to kind of help brighten that light a little bit. But by no means am I the kind of business owner that thinks everything I have to do or ideas I have they're the best. I also like to hire smarter people than myself to debate me. I want someone to go back and forth with me so that we really take all of the right angles and look at every scenario and say, okay, we've circled this. You and I have gone back and forth. What's the best decision for the people that we're serving or the management and clinicians and team that's under us? So I think that's where I try to run autonomous businesses where we all feel like we're part of a team rather than looking to a hierarchy. Um, we're really there to support, and I go based on, one bottom line rule I have for my leadership is if you can't tote the line at the bottom, you can't sit at the top. And so everybody has to be able to just dive in and be able to do everybody else's job that they don't necessarily do day to day.
Okay. Quite a few quotes to unpack, so I'll put stickers here with them. So hire
Okay.
smarter, I love that. But
Yeah.
this idea of are we a positive part of their journey, I love that, right? Because as business owners, we sometimes struggle thinking, "Oh, this person's gonna leave. This is a disaster." And it's like, no, that's a natural part of, owning a business. People are gonna
It
move
is.
on. They're gonna find, right? So always approaching things like that, I like that, how it changes the decisions you make and how you structure things. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
um, thinking again about the entire portfolio, brings up the topic of time management, which, even for business owners like myself that are maybe starting their business, just where you put your time to make it the most effective is sometimes a challenge. Um, I want to get that perspective from you managing different businesses, right? And maybe even having the right people to run the businesses. Um, how do you approach that um, prioritization and managing your time to make it the most valuable for the business?
Well, I think it's for me, and like I'm an individual that's very ADHD. I operate in chaos, and I am ADHD, and so what that kind of I've done with myself, and I think a long time ago it was kind of a confidence destroyer for me, but when I learned how to manage it, it kind of allows me to operate on a higher level. But for me specifically, and I find that this works for a lot of business owners, is routine. My morning routine is the most important component of my day. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I go and I exercise every day. That's also a time for me. I have three kids to unwind and be with myself. And what I do is somewhat what I call brain dump, where I'm putting together my to-do lists and my ideas and the things that are coming to me so that I know how I'm going to approach certain difficult scenarios that I know I'm going to be faced with. And for everybody that runs a business, and I'm sure you know, nobody's calling you day to day to tell you how awesome your business is. Every phone call is another problem solving situation. So sometimes I'm planning out conversations or how I'm going to approach things. I can be a reactive person, and that's not the best way to handle scenarios sometimes. So in the light of that, I would like to circle different things that I'm working on and say, okay, how am I going to broach this? How am I going to be? I'm going to leave this person with, hey, you know that I need you to do this now, but not hurt their confidence and keep them motivated to be excited about their job. So that's not an easy task to do. I think every business owner is faced with that. But the routine in my morning, my diet, exercising, and really just unpacking my thoughts and my ideas and letting those kind of run loose at some point in my day is important for me. Um, when it comes to managing my time, I'm lucky because all of my businesses tie in together. And so a lot of times I'm facilitating all kinds of different parts of that, but also kind of looking at the one center of focus, and that's the client. So I'm lucky like that. And my clinicians always present me with issues that they don't need to be solving. Like, how do we look at this process and make it efficient enough so that my clinicians don't feel overwhelmed, or we can expand their bandwidth when it comes to their caseload? How do I look at those things, help them to solve those so that they can continue to be motivated to do the leadership and the mentorship part of their job? So I think if I were to give business owners any advice and they thought it was valuable and I could bring them any value, is get on that morning routine for yourself. Really look at your diet and how healthy you're keeping yourself, and your mind, so that you can look at every problem not as a burden and as a situation where it burns you out. You can look at it from so many perspectives and feel like you know what direction you're going in and where you want to end that path. So I think I'm lucky like that. Does it always work out where my routine is working every day? No. I mean, life throws things at you all the time. But at the end of the day, I feel if you can start with a routine, whether that is in the morning, that's for me, whatever that is to boost your energy and your confidence in your thought process, um, is the right start.
Yeah, the power of that routine to define the intention of the day and get your thoughts in
Totally.
order. And I love how you say, make it happen most of the time, right? don't get discouraged if it's not perfect every day. So,
The
um,
no day to day is perfect when you're running a business. It just
yes,
isn't. So
yes,
you and I both know that.
yeah. So as
Sure.
we start wrapping up, a few kind of rapid fire questions, maybe a couple of words for
Sure.
each. So, what would
Love
you
it.
consider is the key to success?
I think the key to success is the people that you surround yourself with. I think it's very important to look at who those people are. Do they represent the same values that you do and the business does? Um, and can they keep you motivated as much as they keep them motivated? And can you learn from each other and lean on each other? I think it's super important.
Okay. Other than what you've already shared, any other advice to business owners?
Systems. I mean, when it comes to business and running business, everything is about systems and efficiency. And I think it allows you as a business owner to give freedom to people to do less micromanaging and more of providing tools for them so that they can do what they do best. And I think trying to um, suppress that in people is unhealthy. And so find their strengths, have the systems in place and the tools to give them, and you're definitely going to go on the right path.
Okay, right. Kind of structure so that there's creativity within that structure.
Absolutely.
Any book or resource that you would recommend to other business owners that's kind of your favorite or something recent?
Um, no, I do like to listen to some of the leadership podcasts. There's a healthcare leadership podcast that's on Apple. Off the top of my head, I can't recognize the title, but a lot of people look at having an MBA and books to give you the sense of what business is about, and they don't. What I recommend to people is listen to other leaders, listen to some of the struggles that they've gone through. That can be the telltale to everything that's going on with you. You're gonna run into that leadership leader that you listen to and say, "Man, I've been through that. It was the hardest time of my business." And this is how I got through it. And listening to how they handled it can really give you some vision. And I think that's important to starting getting that experience.
Okay. Yeah. I love listening to the idea of listening to other leaders.
Absolutely.
Now, if we had a magic wand and we could improve one area of your business immediately, what comes to mind?
If you were to come through, what do you mean?
If we had a magic
If
wand to improve an area of your business, what is one area where you're focusing on right now or you would like to improve?
I think I just, improving my partnerships with other businesses, right? So I think I spend a lot of my time now that I have some really good systems in place and good leadership to really work on those partnerships and collaboration with the community that I'm working with. Specifically, that's important in healthcare. Obviously, everybody has different businesses, product-based businesses, but my business is really about those relationships and trust. So if you are someone that works in a relationship-based business, whether it's healthcare or not, I think it's important that maintaining those partnerships and really working on collaborative things, even if it doesn't mean profit or money for your business. I find that everything bad happens in my business when I'm constantly thinking about how I can make more money. Okay, I've never had anything good as a result. Think kindness, think connecting some of your colleagues to other people that would benefit them. Do things that are going to go out of your way for other people, and it comes back. It really does. I think that um, I've made some decisions where I thought that they were profit focused and it really never returned anything positive for me. So be kind to your colleagues and give them opportunities, even if it doesn't give you any.
Okay, great. I love that. So when we share this, we'll share it with your website and social media so people can find you. As we start wrapping up, any other message or anything coming up in the business that the audience should know about?
So, we have some big things coming. We may be looking at opening up an autism in facility place. So right now we're really community based, but we're looking at opening up a center for neurodivergent populations and serving autism. So We know there's a lot of families out there currently who almost 60,000 youth are currently on the waiting list uh, for money, access to services, and that kind of thing. So we're hoping to close that gap and really help families um, to find professionals and resources that they need to serve their loved ones and for them. So again, like I'd want to emphasize, the caregivers and the families are so important in all of the people that we serve. So that's a big one for us. And I think another one is we partnered with the child welfare sector. We're almost at 7 partnerships with children's aid societies around the province, and we're looking to expand that and help them to one, consult from a clinical standpoint with their agency in the child welfare sector, but also to help the high acuity complex youth that are coming through their agencies. So that's a
Mhm.
big one for us, and we're excited. We love little humans and youth, and we're just hoping to make a difference there.
Okay, perfect. So, love those initiatives, and we'll keep an eye out for them. So, well,
Absolutely.
Justin, this has been fantastic. A lot of learning and stickers that I will post everywhere here at my home office. Um, it's been great to learn more about your business. So, thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me, Hugo, and the opportunity to kind of share some of my insights. And I hope it brought some value to your listeners.
Absolutely. Well, thank you and take care.
Thank you.